But also, guys, are we ready to watch why Zul'jin did nothing wrong? Are we ready? 3, 2, 1.
In my last video, I said that the next video would be about every troll tribe and their unfortunate fate. But when doing research, I came to the conclusion that the Amani and their leader Zul'jin needed their own video. Amani history is filled with brutal wars, crushing defeats, and valiant attempts at defending their own lands. All throughout Amani history, they've tried to preserve their home from knife-eared, prissy little elves and their allies. Zul'jin himself embodies the trolls' fanatical vengeance for the elves. A vengeance that was completely justifiable. The forests of Lordaeron are Amani lands. Other races are just living in it.
I feel like I like the trolls a lot, though, I'm not gonna lie.
After the Sundering, the Amani trolls found themselves in the forest that would eventually be called Northern Lordaeron. The trolls lived relatively peaceful lives, not having any real competition with other races until... Oh no, not again. After the War of the Ancients, the war that made the whole world explode, the de facto leaders of the Kaldorei, Malfurion, and Tyrande realized that having a society built on abusing arcane magic was extremely volatile, and any elf caught using it would be banished. Dathramar Sunstrider, a highborn who felt like it was the elves' birthright to use such magic, left with the rest of his snobby highborn friends with a vial of pure energy from the Well of Eternity. Over time, these elves would become shorter, have paler skin, have blue eyes, and eventually turn into the High Elves. The elves sailed across Azeroth and landed in an area that would be known as Lordaeron. The Amani's PTSD instantly kicked in. They knew the destruction elves brought with them, and without question, the Amani instantly launched ruthless skirmishes to squash the elves.
Holy shit!
Magic always seemed to put them on top.
They were not playing around.
Fostered an intense hostility between the races that would continue for the next thousands of years. Eventually, the elves established themselves in the lands of Quel'Thalas and built Silvermoon City, right on top of the ancient troll ruins the Amani held sacred, which...
That is fucked up! Oh my god! I mean, I get it, but also that is fucked up. So they were like, oh, we're gonna like take over your ruins and like, you know, basically build our own city? Fucked up and evil. I justify Amani defenders. Honestly, I'm just saying, if someone like, if I had PTSD from like being attacked once and then more of them came, I'd be like, hey, fuck out of here.
Only strengthened the animosity between the two races. The elves also created the Sunwell, a pool of magical, arcane, and light power that they could feed off of. But the elves, they learned their lesson from last time. The last font of limitless power attracted the Burning Legion that ultimately destroyed their society. So, the High Elves of Quel'Thalas set up rune stones around their city that... You know what? Let me just have an elf explain what these stones do.
I bought a whole bunch of shungite rocks. Do you know what shungite is? No, not shugnite. I think he's locked up in prison. Talking shungite. It's a 2 billion year old like rock that protects against frequency.
I just watched a video on him, by the way, about his history and how and his many controversies, and I just gotta say, I was genuinely like intrigued by like this guy's backstory.
He's an unwanted frequencies that may be traveling in the air. That's my story. I bought a whole bunch of stuff, put them around the La Casa, little pyramids.
Not only did these stones shroud
But also he bought rocks? What the fuck?
the use of the High Elves' magic, but it also weakened the Amani witch doctors in their vicinity. The superstitious trolls were frightened by these unusually powerful stones and remained in the forests of Lordaeron, preferring to attack the High Elven convoys rather than launch a full-scale war.
Yeah, this video's like 4 years old.
Continued to remain a thorn in the elves' side for the next thousands of years, never letting them forget who claimed these lands in the first place.
Yes, get your shit back, bro. I believe.
The tenacity of the Amani caught the attention of one of their old allies. The Zandalari saw potential in the forest trolls. Their bloodlust and willingness to wage war against the enemies of the trolls would be exactly what they need if they ever wanted to become the once great empire they used to be. Although the Amani had persistence, they lacked significant leadership and magical empowerment. A savage troll by the name of Jintha was named the warlord of the Amani, and almost instantly warbands were pushed forward towards the kingdom of Quothalas and empowered by the Loa gods they worshipped.
Dinosaurs!
The High
I love
Elves
this!
quickly realized that they were in big trouble and needed to find their own aid in return. At this point, an Asterian Sunstrider, son of Dathermar Sunstrider, was the leader of Quothalas and traveled down to the human kingdom of Earthor. It was obvious that once the trolls were done sieging the elves, they'd bring their rampage to the humans. So in exchange for the humans' aid, Sunstrider promised to train exactly 100 humans in the ways of magic. King Thoradin agreed, and at first the humans were quite clumsy learning this new power, but...
Kitty!
Oh my god, my kitty, no!
It was
No!
clear they had a natural affinity for it. The mages remained in the human capital of Strom, while 2,000 soldiers pushed into the Amani lands to coax them into their trap. Little did Jintha know, he was playing right into it. The berserking trolls turned on a dime and pushed the humans all the way back to the Alterac Mountains, while the elves of Quothalas followed closely behind and nipped at their heels. The humans stopped their retreat at the base of the Alterac Mountains, fortifying in preparation to launch their secret weapon. The Amani thought victory was in their grasp, but little did they know, they were already dead.
No, you guys are so silly! This is so sad! What the fuck? No! Our troll, guys!
In an unprecedented event never seen before, hundreds of mages used their combined might to rain down a firestorm, burning troll and Loa alike in a roaring blaze that ended the troll wars in a matter of seconds.
No!
Thousands upon thousands of Amani lost their lives that day. The trolls that survived the inferno quickly broke ranks and were hunted like game in the forests that they lived in first. The forests they called home thousands of years before any elf or human even existed. The Amani's bitter hatred for the outside world grew 10 times that day, and it would take another 2,000 years for them to retaliate once again.
Ooh. Okay. Solid raid
Over the
party
next thousands of
true.
years, the elves' influence continued to expand. The Amani continued playing the role of the boogeyman in the forests, but a new leader that rose to power reinvigorated the tenacity of the tribe once.
Fuck the elves. I'm just gonna say it. Fuck the elves. Like, y'all look cool and shit, but like, fuck all of them right off. Oh man, if you play an elf character, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but like, fuck the elves. Oh man, yeah, why are they out here doing all kinds of fucky shit? Man.
Again. His name was Zul'jin.
Zul'jin.
This warlord's raids on elven villages became infamous. The Amani raiding parties would zerg through elven villages, destroying everything in their path before they could even retaliate. These battles were decisive victories for the Amani, but it was no way to win a war. Zul'jin believed the annihilation of the elves centered around the destruction of the Sunwell. In order to destroy the Sunwell, he'd need to figure out how these runestones around their city worked. There was only one way to get this information.
Not his
Good
dumb face.
old-fashioned interrogation. Zul'jin captured Lorthamar, Lady Leadrin, and 2 other elves whose names are not important, and put them in a torture chamber and filled it with hallucinogenic smoke to blur their sense of reality.
The Amani Empire be back now.
He drugged them up. That's crazy. Yeah, we're watching WoW lore, and yeah, no, I know the elves are like basically like trolls, that like evolved. But still, you know, it's still kind of fucked up what they're doing. Man, I feel bad for the trolls. I feel so bad for the trolls.
Egan vengeance, and we gonna start
Giraffe?
with you.
The
Oh,
warlord
shit.
of the Amani preached how these were troll lands, wrongfully stolen by the elves, and that they were the real villains. He talked about how the Amani never truly die, and they would never stop in their endless need for revenge.
Damn.
To extract the information from Lorthamar, Zul'jin stabbed the elf in the stomach, drawing the blade upwards and then smearing his own face with the elf's blood. Brutal. The
That's so
torture
fucking
continued
metal.
Until Liadrin freed herself and used her priestly magic to inflict the same pain she went through during the torture back to Zul'jin. Oof, owie, my bones, man. And then they teleported away. Although Zul'jin relished in the pain he brought on the elves, he did not get the information he needed. But thankfully, sometime later,
Okay.
he'd find a surprising new ally.
Hell yeah. That bit was so
South of the
funny.
Eastern Kingdoms, a new faction called the Horde rampaged across the lands. This new orcish threat was a force to be reckoned with, and although they had not been on Azeroth for long, they fostered the same hatred the Amani had for the elves and humans alike. Zul'jin was captured by
True.
humans and placed in an internment camp, but was freed by Orgrim Doomhammer, the war chief of the Horde at the time. The two sparked an alliance, but for Zul'jin's aid, he had one condition. The only way the Amani would join the Horde is if the High Elves were annihilated.
Okay.
Zul'jin's fanatical need for vengeance would never be quenched until he bathed in elven blood, and he held King Anastarion's head in his hands and forced him to
Ooh.
watch his city be scorched in flame, just like how his defenseless brothers burned in the Troll Wars all those years ago.
Oh.
Dude, chill out.
Really?
While the Horde's plan was to originally just attack the capital of Lordaeron, the Amani seemed like a very powerful ally they could not ignore, so they helped Zul'jin in his struggle against the High Elves. Zul'jin guided the Horde forces up north through the Eastern Kingdoms, rallied his Amani warbands, and quickly started their conquest on Quel'Thalas. Gul'dan and his warlocks studied the magic behind the runestones that protected the city, and severely weakened their power, which greatly helped the Horde in the battle.
You guys make me sick! Make me sick! It's pathetic game
Oh, no.
design, thinking, and balance. Huh?
The High Elves in turn called upon the aid of the Alliance, and the war raged on at the gates of Quel'Thalas, until the cunning
Oh,
elves
no.
harnessed the power of the Sunwell to unleash a
This is definitely what the elves in WoW look like, right? Like, Platinum WoW would never lie to us. This is definitely what they look like, right? Are you liking this video? You are, aren't you? Aren't you? Well, if you like this video, remember to like and subscribe. Also, drop a comment down telling me what you want to see next, and maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. Who knows? You'll have to keep watching. Don't you? I believe. I too believe. He would never lie to us.
spell not seen since the Great Sundering.
Ooh.
That is the Plot Armor Barrier. The Plot Armor Barrier created
No way.
an impenetrable shield that stopped the Horde from advancing at all. It was at this point Gul'dan kind of just disappeared to go on his own quest for selfish power.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Orgrim decided that they were wasting their time. At the end of the day, the Orcs' main mission was to destroy the capital, Lordaeron. This was just a side mission. And despite
Not the
Zul'jin's
side
protests,
quest.
the Orcs left and did just that. And the Amani were left to their own devices once again. This was the closest the Amani ever got to victory, so they continued to fight on despite lacking in numbers. Their bloodlust clearly blurred their judgment, and the elves used this to their advantage to try and destroy the trolls once and for all. History seemed to repeat itself as the elves haphazardly burned the forests, rounding up as many trolls as they could and killed them in the hundreds. Zul'jin himself was cornered at Lake Daromir, where he was captured and chained to a stone, where he endured an endless torrent of pain. To the elves, Zul'jin was a monster.
No.
A beast that lurked in the woods that massacred their friends and family. But Zul'jin was no monster.
He's just misunderstood. No.
In order
Oh,
to
fuck.
escape, Zul'jin had to pay the ultimate price, cut off his own arm, and escaped into the forest. Before we continue our story, let's get out our notebooks because we're going to learn about some troll physiology
Okay.
and a lesson in Blizzard writing. In lore, trolls have the ability to regenerate body parts. There are stories of dedicated troll war drummers flaying themselves alive to use their skin for their drums and then
What?
regenerating it back. Zul'jin got stabbed in the throat and lived, and there are even stories of trolls being totally disemboweled and living.
What?
Zul'jin, on the other hand, did not regenerate his eye or his arm. Why is that? We don't really know for sure. We know that if trolls' body parts are cauterized, it doesn't grow back, but that never happened to him. I and some others like to think that the reason he never grew his arm or his eye back is by choice, to give his warbands a symbol of hatred for the elves. A physical representation of what they took from the trolls. Does that make practical sense to command an army with one eye and one arm? No. But is it badass? Hell yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that is like high-key hater behavior. He's like, man, I can grow it back, but here is a reminder of what they have done to me, so fuck them. I could totally grow it back though, no questions asked, but fuck them in particular.
So let's continue.
He is a petty king and I love this for him. Oh my god, I love this man.
One fateful morning, Zul'jin woke up to see one of the most beautiful sights imaginable.
Hell yeah.
Truly, this was one of the most poggers moments in Amani history, and they weren't even involved.
Oh.
Apparently, one of the High Elves' own people betrayed them, disabled the plot armor barrier, and Arthas and his Scourge armies sieged the elves to use the Sunwell to resurrect Kel'Thuzad. That's a long story for another time that we can talk about later. The point is, 90% of the elves died that day. Let me say that again. 90%. Oh yeah, that is good. This was the Amani's time to strike. Boats set sail to the Isle of Quel'Danas to claim the Sunwell in the name of the trolls, and then it was blown up, killing all the trolls, and that combined with the devastating defeat the Amani had in the Second War beforehand kind of stopped them from really doing anything to capitalize on this devastating defeat that the elves went through. After this event, the elves were renamed into the Blood Elves. They used fell energies to help reconstruct Silvermoon after their devastating loss, and that fell radiation made them have green eyes. In the forests, Zul'jin paced back and forth in frustration. The Amani needed something, anything, to muster the strength to squash these elves once and for all.
Yeah,
in their
fuck
weakened
the
state.
elves, right?
In comes Hex Lord Malacross, a witch doctor who offered Zul'jin aid in the form of a quote-unquote dark power. We never exactly find out what this dark power is. Perhaps it's demonic. Maybe it's the Cathraxi General Kithix that the Amani killed way back on Primordial Azeroth.
Okay.
But you know what I think it is, though? It's Blizzard propaganda.
What?
That's right, Blizzard propaganda to make the Amani seem like the bad guys when truly they're just trying to defend their own lands. The Amani adopted this quote-unquote dark power and grew until the events of TBC when the Zul'man raid was open to players. This was also another big moment because this is when the Blood Elves joined the Horde. You know, the only outsiders they ever allied with in their existence. Another strong reason to hate everybody around them.
Oh.
And I think we know where this story ends. Players charge in the Zul'man, kill every troll in sight, and Zul'jin's valiant attempt to restore pride back in the Amani is ended.
No, our guy.
But the Amani Empire never gonna die.
But in Cataclysm, the Amani are back with a new random leader they pulled out of their ass, and then well, they die again. And then in Mist of Pandaria, they help the Zandalari in the Throne of Thunder, and then they're defeated.
And they
again.
get.
And then in Battle for Azeroth, oh my god, you think the elves are the biggest losers? Yeah,
Okay.
right. Look, to be honest, we all know what we're thinking here. The elves were asking for it. Whoa, why are you booing me? I'm right. No. You want to
Okay.
know what the empire of the Amani has become? An alleyway. And get this, the Zandalari, the spiritual leaders who are the epicenter of troll culture, join the Horde, thus being allies with the Blood Elves, and the only way for the Amani to survive now is to be total servants to them.
Oh.
And you know what the Zandalari let the Horde do? Just beat the shit out of them whenever they want. There is literally a world quest where you just roll into the Amani alleyway, beat the crap out of their disciples of the Loa, and then leave. The story of the Amani is just one of many troll downfalls, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other troll dungeons and raids all throughout Warcraft's history where you, as the player, kill them all.
This is so fucking tragic. I hate this.
Monster. Look, you made Zul'jin cry. How do you sleep at night?
Nobody than me.
Zul'jin, I'm crying too. You don't get it. I'm crying too, bro. What the fuck?
Hey, I don't do this often, but follow me on Twitter. You can get exclusive content like this.
We can't play that for too long. They will absolutely get us. And Heroes are troll because he's so badass. He is badass. What the fuck? Why do they hate him? Why does Blizzard hate him? He's just a guy. Wait, I love him. He's just a guy. Holy shit. This is so sad. Can I get an 07 in the chat? Can I get an absolute 07 in the chat for? Oh man, why did they hate? Yeah, it's so understandable why he hates them. Like, everything about him is so understandable, and then they're like, hey, fuck him. He kind of threw, by torturing them and then letting the girl go free, but I guess you can't, it's one of those shogunate, you can't really be helped kind of thing, right? Oh, the trolls, and then now us, the biggest dum-dums, the biggest assholes in the entirety of WoW, are just let loose to wail on them in the form of multiple raids. That is fucked up and evil. He needed to die from a sick bear mouth? No. They did keep starting wars though. I mean, yeah. Man. Trolls have loot? Oh my god. Okay. Are we just we are just what? We are extra murder hobos then. We're not just we're just murder hobos who are just looting people. That's it. We're robbing people.